Hey everyone, it's Veronica, the Heart Dietitian. I wanted to talk to you about a common question I receive from a lot of clients, and it's about protein powders. Which protein powder to choose? How do I know it's heart healthy? Well, today we'll be specifically talking about low sodium protein powders, why to use them, how to identify them, and how to incorporate them into your day. So let's start off with sodium. What is sodium? Well, sodium is a mineral in our body that really helps with fluid regulation. And sodium is often talked about because in North America, we usually eat too much sodium. And when we have too much sodium, our blood pressure can go up. So if you are struggling to manage your blood pressure, watching how much sodium you intake can be extremely helpful. The other thing is a lot of processed foods that we eat contain sodium. So something like a protein powder is processed. And so we want to make sure that when we are looking for processed foods or choosing processed foods in a heart healthy way, we want to make sure that it is also low in sodium. When we have too much sodium, what happens is we retain fluid. And if we have too much fluid, that puts a lot of stress on our blood vessels, and that stress causes a high blood pressure reading. And that high blood pressure puts too much stress on our heart to have to push the blood through our system, and we don't want to put on any extra stress than we have to for our heart. So that is why we want to be watching how much sodium we are intaking. The goal isn't to have 0 milligrams of sodium, but we don't want to have too much because too much does cause that fluid retention. So now that we talked about sodium, let's talk about protein powders. Protein powders are great because a lot of clients of mine don't consume enough protein, especially at breakfast meals, sometimes lunch meals. Often people are consuming enough protein for dinner. So I think protein powders could perhaps work for some individuals who have a low protein intake for breakfast or lunch. And when we're choosing protein powders, there's multiple different protein powders on the market, but one of them that I really like is a pea protein, because there is some research to suggest that eating pea protein can actually help further reduce our blood pressures. So why not add it? I also like pea protein because it's easy to, it dissolves easily if you are going to take it as like a protein shake. And it doesn't have like a chalky taste like some of the other plant-based proteins that are on the market. So I wanted to show you one of the protein powders that I really like. This is from Naked Nutrition. It's their pea protein. But the reason I like it is, well, it's low in sodium. And how do you know that? Well, you want to look at the nutrition facts panel. And when you're looking for your serving size, so whatever you typically use for your protein powder, you'd calculate that based on the serving size, and then looking at the sodium. So for me, I usually have 1 scoop of this, which means it has about 5% of my daily value of sodium, which is right in line with the guidelines. The other way you can see if a product's high in sodium is what's in the ingredient list. So if you see any words that say sodium or salt in the ingredient list, you know that salt has been added to the product, and that product is probably high in sodium as a result. So this ingredient list says yellow pea protein, coconut sugar, and then cocoa powder because it is a chocolate flavored. So we know that the sodium that is present in the protein powder is just the naturally occurring sodium that's found in peas. So there's no extra added sodium in there, which makes it a very low sodium protein powder. So what can you do with protein powder? Well, I think I like to actually mix it with my oatmeal in the morning, especially something like the chocolate. It gives it a nice chocolate flavor. So scooping it and you just mix it right in, you hardly even taste it. I mentioned earlier you can make a protein shake, so maybe put some soy milk and some pea protein in there. And you could make a drink that way or add it to your smoothies is another easy way to make it for breakfast. So I hope that helps you choosing a low sodium protein powder. Let me know if you have a favorite low sodium protein powder in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.